What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the Texas Rangers report. Right now, I'm live. First live stream on the channel. This is kind of a test video just to see how everything goes. But today we're going to be talking about the off season. But with these live streams, I want to do this to help grow the channel, but also to help interact with the fans, because it's nice talking to you guys through the comments, but it's also would be nice to interact with you one-on-one, directly through the live streams. So I think that would be cool. So the goal right now we're at 354 subscribers, which is awesome. But the goal for tonight is to get to 360. So that's the goal. So the World Series is over, and the Atlanta Braves won. And oh my, sorry. So the World Series is over. The Atlanta Braves won, and right now people are receiving qualifying offers. So that would be your guys like Trevor Story, Carlos Correa, those type of guys, Nick Castellanos, and so the qualifying offer is basically given to those guys because teams want to get them back on the team. However, if those guys are getting the qualifying offer, usually that means that they're good enough to test the open market. So like say let's get a guy like Nick Castellanos, for instance, or Carlos Correa. The Astros will probably give him a qualifying offer, and then they will they know that he's probably going to reject it, okay? And the goal of this is to if say Carlos Correa signs somewhere else in the offseason, the goal of this is to get a draft pick later on. So that's what the qualifying offer does. Not last year, but a few years ago, we did this with Ian Desmond. We gave him a qualifying offer. He rejected it. And just know that, guys, most of the guys do reject qualifying offers. However, there are some instances where players would rather bet on themselves, get the 1-year qualifying offer, and test free agency next year, because sometimes it works out. Most notably, Kevin Gausman did that last year with the Giants, and Marcus Stroman did that last year with the Mets. And now they're looking to cash in this year. But this is a big time for the Texas Rangers, because we are going to go after big names in free agency, like Trevor Story or a Carlos Correa, Corey Seeger. All those guys will get qualifying offers, or Nick Castellanos. Do I think that they will accept it? No. So this is, like I said, this is a big time for the Texas Rangers. However, it's also notable that if a player has already received a qualifying offer in the past, they can't get a qualifying offer the second time around. So most notably, one that comes to mind, Nelson Cruz. He got one in the past. He can't get it again. So that's one case. And then say if a guy was traded, like Kyle Schwarber, he can't get a qualifying offer because he has to stay with his original team. So if he were to get a qualifying offer, he would have to get one for, what was his original team? It was he got traded. He was with the Cubs. Then he got traded to the Red Sox. Oh my gosh, what is his team, or what was his team? He was with the. Oh my God, why can't I think of his team? Obviously, I know he was with the Red Sox. Jock Peterson. Well, no. What? I know. So he's with the Dodgers. Oh, he was with the Cubs. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, he was with. So if Jock Peterson wanted to get a qualifying offer, he would have to stay with the Cubs this entire year, and then he would get the the Cubs would give him a qualifying offer, but since he got traded to the Atlanta Braves, that's not going to be the case. Nationals. Where does Stroman rank for you in terms of free agent pitchers? What do Rangers need? Okay, so Stroman, he's interesting. Personally, I do like Stroman. However, I still think he is a little undersized, and obviously that hasn't been too much of a problem throughout his career. I think as he gets older and he loses some velocity, that could impact him. But as far as starting pitchers go, I think he's a top 5 pitcher this year. And it's kind of hard to rank some of these older pitchers with Verlander and Greinke. Obviously, they've had good careers in the past, but it's just weird. Weird and a little bit hard to rank those guys. And then what do I think the Rangers need this year? A shortstop. I've done multiple videos on this channel breaking down potential shortstops that the Rangers need. And I think the top guy for the Rangers is Carlos Correa. He's the youngest, and he might be the most expensive, but he's coming off the best season out of all the shortstops. So I think he's the number 1 priority. I think the second priority for the Rangers is an outfield bat. So you obviously have Adolis Garcia. He's going to play center or right. Outside of that, it's all up for grabs. I mean, we've had guys show some glimpses like Leody Taveras, DJ Peters, but then again, it was just some glimpses. That was it. So Nick Castellanos might be interesting. Who else? Kyle Schwarber might be interesting. Maybe even the trade market as well. I don't know if the Rangers would necessarily be interested in a bad contract deal to pick up a prospect. I know that the Padres might be willing to unload. They might be willing to unload Will Myers. He has $20 million left on his deal, and the Padres are close to the luxury tax. And then another thing that the Rangers need is starting pitching. So shortstop, outfield bat, and then starting pitching. And the Rangers definitely need starting pitching because right now we just lost Volte, Jordan Lyles. I mean, they weren't big pieces in the rotation, although they were still in the rotation. So right now we have Dane Dunning, Taylor Hearn, and that's really about it for who's definitely going to be in the rotation next year. As far as how the Rangers spend their money on the starting pitching market, I don't really know. There has been rumors about Clayton Kershaw, obviously because he's from the Dallas area. Do I think he goes away from where he's been his entire career? I don't know. And that being the Dodgers. And I mean, he's 33 years old right now. He's declined. He's been declining for the past few years. And so I don't know if they should go after Kershaw. Noah Syndergaard could be interesting. And then some of the older pitchers like Scherzer, Greinke, Verlander, I don't think they really go after those because those guys, I don't think they really want to go to like a rebuilding team. I don't think we're going to be calling ourselves a rebuilding team right now because we're trying to get out of that rebuilding phase. But I think those guys want to go to the contenders. So I think some guys that might make sense, Kershaw, if he wants to come to his hometown, Syndergaard, if he wants to have a second chance after all of his injuries, Kevin Gausman, Marcus Stroman, and then some of the middle tier pitchers as well. What's up, Tyler. How are you doing? This is the first live stream. If you have any questions, feel free, put them down below. I'll answer them. But yeah, so I just did a video on the latest free agents for the Texas Rangers. And right now, that is, or as of right now, the free agents are Charlie Culberson, Jordan Lyles, and it's a little bit of a long day. Charlie Culberson, Jordan Lyles, and Brock Holt. So all those guys are gone right now. They're unrestricted. What's up, Gabe? How are you doing? All those guys are unrestricted free agents. And during this time, from after the World Series to November 7th, every single team in the MLB has their opportunity to extend a qualifying offer to everybody, or to anybody that's a free agent. The Rangers should not be extending a qualifying offer to any of those three guys, because if you were to extend a qualifying offer, the money that you'd have to extend would be $18 million, and those guys don't deserve $18 million. And then if you were, and then the other option for until November 7th is player options. The Rangers don't have anybody with player options right now. If they were to held on to Joely Rodriguez, then they would be dealing with a player option. So it could be interesting to see what the New York Yankees do with Joely. If they were to decline him, should we sign Joely back? I don't think so. I think that the Rangers have a good amount of depth in the bullpen. I think whenever we get Leclerc back, Nick Snyder back, Jonathan Hernandez back, get a few trades, free agents, our bullpen might be pretty solid. Gabe, I won't be surprised that the Rangers miss all their free agent targets. I hope not. So I'm guessing you mean just saying they're going to sign big and then they don't. That would be pretty frustrating, for sure. Or you could go the total opposite way on this. Back to like 2013, when the Rangers did spend some money, we signed Sensu too, and then that deal didn't end up so great for the Texas Rangers in the long run. And I mean, it is, if you look at the data, if you sign players to long-term contracts, it's proven that usually they do regress. So that's why it's good to have a farm team built around these guys. And I mean, obviously, Chu regressed, but that's why you got to find the right free agents. And I think this is a good class to go after the right free agents. How late or early in the offseason does Trevor Story sign? Okay, so with the potential lockout, I don't know. If you guys don't know, there's the potential for a lockout this year because the collective bargaining agreement is done. So this could make things really interesting this offseason. I don't know if this will change any team's strategies going into the offseason, if they should sign players early, if they should sign people later, because if the MLB were to go on like a strike, if I done my research correctly, this means that teams can't get any deals done during this lockout period. And right now, yes, we just got done with the World Series. Yeah, the Braves won, but last offseason, the owners and the players were not happy with each other at all. And I forgot exactly what they were fighting over last offseason, but it was not pretty. especially in 2020 during the COVID year. That was crazy as well, with all the owners and the players going after it. We couldn't decide if we're going to have a season, if it's going to be a 100-game season, 60-game season, and now that this collective bargaining agreement's over, it could put a dent in a lot of things. So how late or how early Trevor Story signs, I really don't know. That's something that could be based off how the collective bargaining agreement goes, and even the international free agents, like, or the Rule 5 draft, the winter meetings, that could all be changed as far as what happens with this collective bargaining agreement. No, that's not a question. So, yeah, this will be an interesting offseason for the Texas Rangers, because they said they're going to sign some big players, and this makes sense because we do have a farm system in place. It's a top 10 farm system now. And so we have the pieces, kind of like back whenever the Padres had a good farm system. I mean, they still kind of do, but they traded a lot of people away. So they signed like Eric Hosmer. They re-signed Will Myers, and they signed Manny Machado. And I think that there's two different sides right there. I don't think Eric Hosmer ever should have gotten that contract. That's one of the bad signings right there. Manny Machado, he is a good signing. He's I think he's had like one bad season with the Padres, but all the other seasons have been really good, and he should help the Padres. Like, they had a down year this year, but they're in it until the very end because they had some bad team chemistry. But the Rangers can do something similar, stay away from the bad contracts, keep the good contracts. Then we could be a yearly contender once again. I won't be surprised that the Rangers miss all their free agent. Oh, wait, that's the same question. Oh, yeah. So another thing that I've been thinking about is what if the Texas Rangers go after I know this might not be popular, but what if the Rangers go after some trade candidates that are on some bad contracts? Okay, imagine like a Will Myers or a David Price or a Luke Voigt or Zach Britton. All those guys are on bad contracts. Not so much Luke Voigt, but he might get non-tendered, and they all have 1 year left, and you could pick up a prospect as well. I don't know if the owners are interested in that, but it might be worth a shot. We've done this in the past with Elvis trade, the Jason Barr trade. Obviously, Jason Barr really hasn't done much in the organization, but you never know what could become of these prospects. How confident are you in Nate Lowe being our first baseman for the next 3 to 5 years? I'm pretty confident. Nate Lowe had a really quietly productive season this year. I think whenever we acquired Nate Lowe, I think everybody thought he was going to be a big power hitting first baseman. That wasn't really the case. He was more of an on base first baseman. He drew a lot of walks, not as much as Joey Gallo. So I think he kind of got he was kind of like in the shadow of Joey Gallo with the walks and the home runs, because Joey Gallo hit a bunch of home runs, walked a lot. But for the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see. I think this next year is definitely big for Nate Lowe, especially with all of our prospects, because we have a lot of fringe prospects at some positions, like Sam Huff. He's a catcher, but he could play first. Josh Young, he's a third baseman. He could play first. Sherman Paso, he's a third baseman and the first baseman. So we'll see what Nate Lowe could do. But luckily in the American League, there's also the DH. And Nate Lowe didn't have the best defensive year at the first base position. But as far as the offensive goes, he was one of our best offensive hitters this year. Next question. Sir Wilbert. I know the Rangers said they would be involved, but I'll only believe it when I see it. Yeah. Very true. I think that goes with anything in life. You can hear it, but you want it to be backed up. And the Rangers said they're going to be aggressive in free agency. But who does that actually mean? I hope we're not getting our hopes up, thinking we're going after Carlos Correa, Nick Castellanos, and in reality, we're just going to sign 2 starting pitchers and then Kyle Schwarber. I hope that's not the case. I mean, Kyle Schwarber, he's a good player, but I mean, we've already signed starting pitchers in the past, and we've signed people that could hit. So I think we really want to see 1 or 2 star players signed this offseason. Gabe, I'm curious about the upcoming draft. It's a very deep draft. Let's wait another 6 months. I already did a video on this about some guys the Rangers could target. Elijah Green's one. I'm curious if Kumar Rocker, if his elbow gets healthy. Jace Young, look out for him. Obviously, his brothers in the organization. So we'll see what comes of that. But whenever I previewed the 2020 MLB draft, like 6 months in advance last year, and we obviously had the 2nd overall pick. And it was interesting, the players I previewed. The number, I think my first 2 guys were Kumar Rocker and Judd Fabian. And then I had Jack Leiter as like, maybe not. And obviously Jack Leiter rose the ranks super high. And we were lucky. We were happy to get him, ecstatic. And Kumar Rocker, we still thought he was the top player. But obviously he had his elbow. And Judd Fabian, he's fell all the way to the 2nd round. So we just need to wait and see how this entire thing unfolds. But I mean, we're picking 3rd, so we need to pick somebody that can help out this organization for sure. Aggie Bro, will we be active this offseason by signing one of the top guys or no? I mean, that kind of goes back to a few questions ago. I do really think so. I really think that the ownership and the Chris Young, John Daniels, I think they're being extremely upfront and honest. And I think this travels back to last offseason whenever we got rid of Elvis Andrus. We knew that there was going to be a stacked shortstop draft or free agency class. So we wanted to see what we could get out of Isaiah because we knew what we've gotten out of Elvis. So we wanted to see what we could get out of Isaiah before this free agency draft class. And now we kind of know what Isaiah is. I think we are definitely interested in this. And if we don't sign one of these guys with the lack of talent that's on the roster, I think I think it's not going to look good for John Daniels, especially when a lot of you guys already have him on your hot seat. Let me get a drink of water real quick. Dustin Harris will be our first baseman in 2023. Mark it down. I'm going to keep this one quick. So it's kind of interesting. I was upset when we didn't trade Mike Minor at his peak. I bet you guys were as well. But we actually, I thought we could have gotten a top 100 for Mike Minor, a top 100 prospect. And we traded him for Dustin Harris and an outfield prospect. His name will come to me later. It was a 4th round draft pick, but Dustin Harris has raked. There's no doubt about it. It's kind of tough in the minor leagues when they rake, because think about Curtis Terry, Yoel Pozo, they raked. And then at the majors, they didn't do anything. But Dustin Harris is actually a complete athlete. So I definitely would look out for him this year at the minor league level. Tyler, sorry if I mispronounced that. Anyone know what players we have to add to the 40-man roster or lose them to the roof? That's a really good question. And I actually have a Google Doc. I was actually looking this up. I actually was doing this like a few months ago. So here's you probably can't see that. Ricky Vanasco's one, Ronnie Henriquez, Bubba Thompson, Cole Reagans, Jake Latz, Ryan Doro, Steele Walker, Cole Uvila, Jacob Lemoyne, Heather Bueno, Nick Snyder, Miguel Aparicio, Joe Gatto, Chris Seiss, Jason Barr, Alex Spees, Scott Angler, Daniel Robert, Blake Bass, Kevin Gowdy, Carl Chester, Ty Tedeman, Ezekiel Duran, and Julio Pablo Martinez. Obviously, not all those guys are going to get added. I think the ones that do get added, Ricky Vanasco, Bubba Thompson, obviously Ezekiel Duran. Oh, wait, sorry. Nick Snyder's already on the 40-man. Steel Walker probably. Ronnie Henriquez, actually, he might not have to get added because he was signed at like a weird date. So it's maybe on him. I'm not too sure. Cole Reagans or Jake Latz is a toss-up for me. Obviously, Cole Reagans did have a good bounce back year, but he did struggle in Double-A. So I don't really know. I'll definitely need to make a video on that and break down what the 40-man roster is already looking like. But that's a really good question. And don't worry, I definitely have been tracking the players that we need to add. But definitely Ricky Vanasco, probably Bubba Thompson, Ezekiel Duran. And after that, it could be a toss-up. At least two free agents, probably 2-star free agents. Bubba Thompson and Cole Reagans were two that I know sure need to be added. I mean, yeah, they probably will. Bubba Thompson played really nice this year at Double-A. And Cole Reagans, he played nice. At Single-A, he made it to the Futures All-Star game, but at Double-A, he really did struggle. And he has these injuries histories, but he was our first-round pick back in 2016, so maybe the Rangers do stay loyal. But also, it's probably not going to be too hard to create 40-man roster spots because our 40-man isn't super deep. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys do get added. But I'll definitely make a video on the 40-man because the Rule 5 draft will be here closer than we know it. David, even if we sign Kershaw, Story, and Castellanos, do we still have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs? Probably not, because I think the pitching still needs some help. Because if we look at our rotation, we'd have Kershaw at the top for sure, Taylor Hearn, Dane Dunning. I don't know who would really fill out the 4 and the 5. I think the 5 could go to some of the prospects, like fringe prospects like Colby Allard, Spencer Howard, AJ Alexi, Glenn Otto. I think you have those guys fight for a 5th spot. I think Dane Dunning and Taylor Hearn have deserved the spot in the rotation. And then you get the 4th spot to whoever, like another free agent. But I don't know if we would make the playoffs. I do think it would have to I think it would have to be whenever our prospects get to the majors and see how they play with the free agent signings. So like Sam Huff at catcher, Josh Young at third base. And if we move Isaiah Kiner-Falefa the second, would his bat play better at second? Let's just see. But we would definitely win more games for sure. Also, would Kershaw stay healthy? That's a big thing. What's up, Samuel? I would want Corey Seager, Noah Syndergaard, and Kyle Schwarber. Thoughts? Obviously, all good players. Although Kyle Schwarber isn't much of an athlete, so would you have Willie Calhoun play left field, or who would play left field? Who would DH? Noah Syndergaard's been injured, but when he's healthy, he's an ace of a staff. He could be a buy low candidate this year. And I mean, a buy low candidate isn't bad for the Rangers because we don't have to win right now. I don't know how much he would want to command, but it probably a little bit more than the Mike Minor, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson deal. I'm not too sure. But if he gets back to his form and you get him for cheap, that's really good. Corey Seager, another really, really, really good player. I think it would balance out a really right-handed lineup for the Rangers. I don't think you can go wrong with Corey Seeger. He has dealt with injuries, but I don't think you could go wrong with Correa, Seeger, and probably Trevor Story. I know he had a down year this year, but I don't think you could go wrong with either of those three. Samuel, I really believe that by 2023 the Rangers would be a playoff team. I think that's a really good timetable. I think this year is whenever we start to turn the table. You want to see those free agent signings help the team. You want to see the prospects help the team. But I don't think this is when we actually make a run, because if you think about 2023, Jack Ladder, he'll probably be in the majors. Colwyn, he'll probably be in the majors. Josh Young, he'll probably have a full year of the majors under his belt. Same with Sam Huff. Justin Foscue, he might be there. Zico Duran he'll be close. I mean, all these guys, like for so long, our minor league system has been like, oh, it's kind of talented, but a lot of these guys are in the lower ranks. But I think we're starting to turn the corner with a lot of these trades. The Joey Gallo trade. We'll see what happens with that Kyle Gibson deal. Lance Lynn deal. We got Dane Dunning, of course. I think these prospects are really starting to help this team. I think a lot of them are getting closer and closer to the major league level. And that's why we could be a contending team by 2023, especially if we do well with this free agent class. Most notably, if you look at the Arizona Fall League, Owen White, our second round pick from 2018, he's been playing really well. Ezekiel Duran's been playing pretty well. And this is super encouraging to see. What year was Christopher Sice drafted? I can't remember. 2017, same year as Bubba Thompson, so he does need to get added this year. Although I don't think he gets added because I think the first month of the minor league season he tore his ACL. He tore his ACL, and he was actually a first-round pick. I think he was the comp pick we got for having Ian Desmond signed somewhere else. But I think this is similar to the Cole Reagan thing from last year. We didn't protect him. I don't think a team would actually draft him. So I think we're fine with Chris Sice. Okay. We seem to have, we do seem to have a lot of depth at shortstop, second base. A trade. What are you looking for in a trade? Are you looking for depth elsewhere in the minor league system, or are you looking for a player that can contribute now? I mean, a trade could be possible, but I don't know if there's necessarily a trade right now that makes too much sense. Maybe at the trade deadline. But then again, if you do have athletes, you can move them to other positions. So like Luis Angel Acuna, he can definitely play center field. Josh Smith, he can play short. He can play second. Ezekiel Duran at Arizona Fall League, he's going to be getting work at second, short, third. Although Justin Foscue, he's mainly just going to be a second baseman. But I think possibly because eventually you'll have to add all these guys to the 40-man, and you might have similar to this Nate Lowe situation from last year. He couldn't play for the Rays, so they had to trade him. So maybe it could be a situation where we're looking for a pitcher at the deadline. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, and then we can use our depth. That's a good question. I think Castellanos is going to stay in the NL Central. I think Cardinals, maybe. What do you think about the Oakland A's possibly rebuilding? Olsen and Chapman might get traded. I definitely heard the rumors. I I don't know right now. I think I need to wait a little bit because right now I've been hearing rumors from like just articles, and I don't think it's actually credible sources. Um, but it's definitely possible since these guys are running out of arbitration years, and the biggest thing is their farm system is trash. I think Acuna will start at low A next season. Um, I mean, he played low A this season. He didn't play too well. Um, it's possible they could move him up to Hickory if they think he's developed well. But it's possible. Josh Young will more than likely be called up to the majors for sure this year. What are the prospects you think will get called up very soon from the majors? Yeah, so I think Josh Young definitely has the best chance. The question is it out of spring training or is it a month in the minors? I mean, I don't think he has too much left to prove in the minor leagues. The only thing is, do they want to manipulate his service time? That's the thing. So we'll see about that. As far as who do I think will else get called up very soon? Very soon. I'm trying to think of players that haven't made their major league debut. Just looking up our top prospects just to get a better. I mean, I definitely think Cole Winn will get a chance in 2022 for sure. But I don't think it'll be super soon. I think it might be if he stays healthy and performs well at AAA. I think it'll be after the All-Star break. And that's something that we were kind of hoping for with Josh Young, but he did get injured. Trying to think if anybody else comes to mind. Maybe somebody in the bullpen. I know Sam Huff has already made his major league debut, but maybe we do see him. But I mean, that's not going to be a major league debut. But I think Josh Young, Cole Winn around halfway through the season, and then maybe some reliever or something like that. I don't think Cole Winn makes the opening day roster. I think it's sometime around All-Star break that he makes the team. I'm just looking at the top prospects right now. I mean, Jordan Apostle, Steele Walker, they're close, but they didn't have the best of minor league seasons. Who else? Yeah, nobody else is super, super close besides Cole Winn, Josh Young, Steele Walker, Jordan Apostle. So I think the closest we see is Josh Young, Cole Winn, sometime after the All-Star break. All right, guys, so we have another question. Do you think Anderson ever gets back to the major leagues pre-turbo in Frisco? I think he actually gets outrighted or designated. I think they need to clear him from the 40-man. I think he has some major contact issues. So obviously, he made the majors in the COVID year. He had a really good first game, and he hit a home run. I think his first or second at bat hadn't been done since Nomar Mazara. But he wasn't ready for the majors. We gave him another chance this year, and he still wasn't ready. And I'm like, okay, just go work it out in the minor leagues until your time's ready. Didn't do anything in AAA, and we're like, okay, go figure it out in AA. Didn't figure it out in AA, and he actually lost his starting role. He became a utility player down the stretch, and that's really concerning. His days with the Rangers might be over. I think the Rangers do. I think they take him off the 40-man roster this year. I don't think they're worried if anybody claims him. He's obviously a great defender. If he fixed the contact issue, then he can be a really good player. But I mean, he only has one option remaining as well. So I think his time with the Rangers might be coming to an end. What free agents do you see the Rangers signing, especially starters? I mean, do you mean starting pitchers? I want the Rangers to sign Kevin Gausman, and then as maybe a Noah Syndergaard as like a cheaper, low risk, high reward type of guy. But I'll definitely break down a video on starting pitchers coming down. I'm going to my YouTube channel, seeing if we hit the goal of 360. We have not. We're at 355. So we did gain 1 subscriber, but we are still 5 away. Please share this channel with your friends, your family. If they like the Rangers, please just share it. I'm definitely thinking about doing more live streams. Let me know if the live stream was glitchy. Could you hear me all right? I'll be checking off in about 5 minutes or so, answering a few more questions, and hopefully we can get to that 360 goal before I sign off. So just share, ask a few more questions, and if not, I'll just talk a little bit more about the Rangers. Did you guys like the live stream? I think it was pretty cool to interact with all of the fans. I think it's pretty cool. I think whenever the Rangers sign somebody or if we trade for somebody, we could do some pretty cool live streams on here during the game, maybe. It could be pretty cool to see what we could do with these live streams. So yeah, I'm going to be logging off at 9:45. We are so close to the 360 subscriber goal. If we could get there tonight, that would be great. But if you have any more questions, let me know. But as far as my top free agents, I think we got to look at Carlos Correa. We got to look at Corey Seager. We got to look at Nick Castellanos for sure. And we got to look at Kevin Gausman. Those are my top guys. And then I'm also interested in the trade market as well, for guys on 1-year deals with large-ish contracts, because the Rangers said they're willing to take on money this year. So I'm looking at guys like a David Price, Zach Britton, Will Myers, and you could possibly take on these contracts and then add a prospect in return, help the farm system, because in the end, the farm system is what helps you win. It keeps the payroll small, and it builds a long competitor in the long term. And especially, you can take advantage of teams like the Padres, a team like the Yankees, because they are super close to the luxury tax. So maybe the Rangers can throw in a prospect that needs to be protected from the 40-man this year, that they wouldn't be protecting, or you could actually maybe just give him cash, maybe just pay the entire contract. But please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, become your number one source. We're so close to the 360 60 subscriber goal for this video. And don't forget to share it with friends and family that like the Texas Rangers. That way we can grow this fan base, grow the fan base of the Texas Rangers, because we are a top franchise. But if we could become, oh my gosh, this is my dog. My dog just walked in on the video. we're a top franchise, but if we could get to like the size of a Yankees fan base, that would be really cool. With that being said, this is the end of the first live stream, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.